Hey everyone, it's Victoria,
This is Desiree,
and this
and we
is
are
Just Discussion.
Just Discussion.
Yeah, so you guys, as you can see, we're kind of on like FaceTime right now because we are not in the same city, and we probably said Just Discussion at a different time, and there's a delay, but that's okay. So, um, so Des, what do we want to talk about today?
We want to talk about the LGBTQ community.
All right.
Interesting topic, very controversial topic, but something I think everyone in some form or fashion can relate to. So yeah.
Okay. Um, I'm trying to think. Like there is I don't know. I'm a person who opens up into the deep like really quick. So that's
Yeah.
just who I am. But I had this thought about when and this is not hate speech, guys. So just yeah. I had this thought when Bruce Jenner was going into his transition, and do you remember that one lady who made a comment? Maybe that was a little hate speech what she said, but she made a comment. It was this long thing about like being a woman, like what it really is to be one. Do you remember that?
That sounds familiar, but I don't really know exactly.
Well, I think she said something about um, being a woman is not just changing the outer appearances or even just changing certain habits. Being a woman is just the embodiment of being a feminine person, a female. Um, like how women they can give birth to children, and there's a whole process that people go through, like well that women go through when it comes to that whole thing, and I feel
Mm,
like being a woman is way more than that. It's more than just getting surgery, and changing your parts. It's more than just even feeling feminine. There's like a mandate on a woman's life. For instance, in the
mm,
Bible, it talks about how women are to be a helpmate to their husband. So there's
right.
definitely like a mandate, and I know I just jumped into that, but that's just a thought that I had that I just wanted to put out there.
No, that's true. Like I think some people think like, oh, a woman is just they in their mind they think, oh, if I wear a dress or if I talk a certain way, I carry myself in a certain demeanor or whatever, that is what a woman is. But it's more than that. A woman, it could be the mother of your children. A woman could be your mom. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's more than just saying I feel like a woman, so I'm gonna just do that. Like I
Absolutely.
said before, it was like I think it was one of the first videos we did. If I say that I feel like a whole nother race, you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't mean that I can actually be a whole nother race. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's cultural like differences. Like I was born as a black woman. Period. There's
Yeah.
I can't change that. And but it's not to say that people don't have those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to disrespect anyone who do go through those different things. So I think a lot of people actually have those thoughts of like, oh my gosh, like I'm attracted to this person.
Yeah.
Because it's temptation all over in this world. But I think the thing is, acting on those thoughts is where a lot of people miss it.
Yeah. And another thing is this is in life we just need to, I mean, I'm going through a process too. Like I feel like everyone is, little by little everyone is learning to be more secure in who they are and who they were born to be, not as the opposite sex but as who you actually came out of the womb looking like what you actually came out of the womb as,
Mm,
so I feel like a lot of times um it just it goes against being comfortable in your own skin when somebody changes who they are. So you don't see, I'm just going to go to an extreme. You don't see people with and as beautiful as they are, you don't see people with Down syndrome going to change their outer looks because they want to look normal. What is normal? You know,
mm,
normal is being who you are, if that's considered normal. Actually, as a matter of fact, it's considered being unique. And everyone has a process. And so to say that, oh, I feel like, let's say you're a female, I feel like a guy, and that's who I felt I was, so I need to start changing myself and act as a guy. No, you don't. Honestly, if I were for, um, I'm not saying I'm against the people, but if I were for being, gay or lesbian, I would say be a female still and be with another woman because like if we're gonna make it like that, be a
Right. Still
guy.
be who you are.
That's the
I,
point. That's the
right.
point. But obviously, like, I believe in a male and a female. But the point is, we should be secure with who God created us to be. In Psalms 139:14, it says we were basically fearfully and wonderfully made. How we came out to be. And if we go deeper than that, we're not even bodies. We're spirits, and we have a body.
Oh man, no, you're right. You're right. That's true. I think that's one of those scriptures that I really love. We're fearfully and wonderfully made, and he also says this, that we're made in his image. So, in a sense, when people say like, "Oh, I don't feel like I'm in the right body," or that God made a mistake, God doesn't make mistakes. He never
Absolutely.
does. And what it is that God never changes. We do. And so we have to understand that if we're having an issue with like how we view ourselves, because okay, that's a whole nother thing. If you're thinking about like, oh my gosh, I think I'm a whole nother gender or whatever. But even mentally, some people just don't think they're beautiful if they're a female, or they don't
Yeah.
think if they're a guy, they don't think they're handsome. It's very mental as well. You have to
Yes.
learn to love yourself, your true self, not what you think you're supposed to be, but who you really are. And that's
Absolutely.
another thing. A lot of people attack or the enemy, because I believe in God, so there is an enemy. The enemy, he tries so hard to attack our identity. The last thing the devil wants is for us to know who we are in Christ. The
Right.
moment we find out who we are in Christ, it's over for him. There's no tactics. He can't say anything.
Over.
If someone comes up to me and says, like, for example, I know I'm saved, I know I'm going to heaven, it's not because of my works, it's because what Jesus Christ did for me. So if someone comes to me and say, no, you going to hell, you did this and this and that, and you did this stuff in the past, I'm gonna be like, well, the Bible says old things have passed away, behold, all things become
Yeah.
new. So that's not even me. I don't know who you're talking about. She died a long time ago.
Yeah.
But that's confidence in knowing who I am.
Yeah.
But people, if you don't know who you are, then when society can tell you who you are, and
Yes.
society lies all the time.
Yeah. Basically, like these things are touchy subjects because there's so many routes we can go. We can even go to just really encouraging people who deal with like homosexual lifestyle or who live in it. I want to say there's people who deal with it, and then there's people who live in it. So that's
Yeah.
a complete different thing right there. But we can even say, hey, I know what it's like to be in that lifestyle and then to get out of it. And so
Yeah.
I can definitely testify like did I even say that right? A testify? Testify.
I don't
Whatever.
know.
Anyways, so I can definitely say like I've had like I've had a lifestyle of like homosexuality. I was like bisexual, but that was something that was it was rooted in rejection and insecurity, and God delivered me from that. And it wasn't because I was ashamed of who I was living as, because I thought that was just me, but it was
Right.
because the more I got filled with God, the more He showed me who I was, the more He showed me in the Word what it is to be a female is, and it's supposed to be male and female. Like the conviction set in by itself. Like God didn't have to force anything on me, and it left. And we deal with a spiritual realm as well. And so, man, I forgot that there was this. I remember seeing it somewhere. Maybe I'll have to find a video on it. But there was a video that I saw of a testimony of a girl who she went to church and she was dealing with this lifestyle and she didn't want it anymore. And literally, they prayed for her and they commanded a spirit of homosexuality to come off of her, and it
Wow.
left. And she
Whoa.
was delivered, and she said the desire for being with women was not there. So
Jeez.
so a lot of the times, it's a spiritual thing, and learned behaviors as well, family things, what's it called, generational. But yeah, so that's pretty much
That's
what I have on it right now. Oh, wait, hold on, I think I have like one more point.
right. No, I think it's also like addictions. Like the same way you can correlate it to addiction. Some people, they really don't want to drink. like they grew up with a maybe an alcoholic parent, like, or something, where they're just always drinking, and then some kind of way they got themselves in that lifestyle of drinking all the time. And sometimes it's just literally their environment that, made them become that way. Some people really are a product of their environment.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of us really are. Some people who grow up in the church and they're just like, oh, I'm a Christian because my parents are a Christian. It doesn't work that way in reality, but that's how it is. You know what I'm saying? Some people it's the same thing with drugs, all that. If you're surrounded by a certain culture, it's been proven that you will begin to act that way.
Yeah.
If in our culture, especially, they do have an agenda, whether people believe it or not. They have
Absolutely.
a whole agenda. They have an agenda for depopulation. That's a whole nother subject. That's like Hollywood talk there. You know what I'm saying? But literally, when people begin to realize, okay, I need to think for myself. I need to take some time and be like, okay, am I living in this lifestyle because I truly feel like this is who I am? Or is it because maybe be realistic, be real with yourself? Is it because, some person over here was living this way and I was always surrounded by that?
Yeah.
Some, for example, like a gay guy, he could have been raised by a single mom, had several sisters,
Product of his environment.
Or he could have, a lot of people have been molested or raped.
Yeah.
So like that happens, and people don't want to talk about it, right? It's better to say that I was born this way, because then you can get rid of that memory. No one wants to go back on. Right. And so it's just really evaluate those things. Even to me, when I get defensive or is when they start trying to push it on kids, I get really upset, because it's like, you have a 5-year-old and you're telling them, oh yeah, he knows what he wants to do. Your 5-year-old still believes in the tooth fairy. Yeah. And for you to say that your 5-year-old knows what gender he is, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that's how this road is going. But we just have
too far. Yeah. And I want to end with this. Like, I like that comment you made. You brought it up in the beginning of the video, but you didn't say the example. A person with like a perfectly good arm can go into a place like, to get surgery, and he can go to the doctor and say, so I want to cut off my arm. The doctor would be like, okay, so we're gonna get you Baker acted or get you in a mental institute.
Right.
But a person who goes in with like nothing wrong with them, they want to cut off a body part to become another gender. Okay, let's get you signed up.
Yeah,
how does that make sense?
I was just learning about it. I can't remember what was the actual company, but a lot of doctors, they actually have this bill or this law where it says, like, you actually are supposed to, instead of doing actual counseling and actually talking to the person about it, instead of actually like guiding them, and instead of just jumping the gun and be like, oh yeah, let's just do this. Yeah, you're totally, yeah, you said you're a guy now. Like, even though you're not. Instead of assuming that and just blindly affirming that, people need to be guided, spoken to, like, literally, let's have a discussion like we're doing now. Let's talk about, okay, how do you feel? Okay, well, you do know that just because we feel a certain way, that doesn't mean that it's true. Remember, feelings change. Talk about it. Yeah. Stop just making irrational decisions.
Yeah, because it's not going to change their feelings.
Yeah,
feelings don't, like, if you change your body parts because of feelings, the feelings are going to stay. Like, you're not solving the root issue. You're better off going to counseling and see if your issue can be solved than to go and make a transition. It's a serious one that you have to live with.
Have you heard? There's so many stories. Like, I don't know if you heard of this show, or this thing that popped up on like YouTube or whatever. Maybe it was on actual TV. It was called "I Want My Sex Back," and literally people who thought, they literally genuinely thought, okay, I'm born. Say, for example, I'm born as a woman. I feel like I'm a man, and so they went through that transition. But later down the years, they realized that it didn't change how they felt. It didn't change. They still didn't feel. They didn't feel that void. That's what I meant to say. It doesn't feel that void, and actually, doctors call it gender dysphoria, where you changing, and a lot of doctors even know it, but they don't tell you, which makes me really upset. They know going into surgery that you're still going to feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's something mental that you have to address mentally. It's not going to be addressed with changing your outward appearance. You have to love yourself.
That's good.
That's the problem. Most people don't love themselves.
Yep. So that's basically it for today.
Yeah.
We do want to hear what you guys have to say, or we want to, see your comments. So make sure to comment below. Share this video just to get the word out. Obviously, if you agree with it, if you don't disagree, you don't have to share anything. So don't worry about it.
I mean, if you share, you are spreading the words, but but
no
the message,
keyboard warriors.
You don't want any keyboard warriors. We don't want any arguments. You just want to speak and have conversations.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So that was it for Just Discussion today, and we will see you next time. Bye.
All right. Bye.